This module is intended to assist Kentucky employers involved in the trucking industry in understanding the benefits associated with Kentucky's workers' compensation system. Although the information contained within this training module addresses procedures and statutes, it is an overview and does not address the subject matter exhaustively, nor does it address all of an employer's legal obligations relative to workers' compensation. This module is intended for Kentucky employers that operate one or more commercial motor vehicles and hence are subject to the annual Education and Safety Training Regulation passed into law in 2013. This module is designed to provide trucking companies and other businesses that use commercial motor vehicles within the Commonwealth of Kentucky with an overview of Kentucky's workers' compensation system and the benefits associated with it. A separate module is available entitled Managing Workers' Compensation that addresses how to effectively manage workers' compensation in an effort to minimize the frequency and control the cost of workers' compensation claims. This training module was created for you by Midwestern Insurance Alliance, the workers' compensation carrier endorsed by the Kentucky Motor Transport Association and the host of the website truckingworkerscomp.com. At the conclusion of this module is a brief quiz. Workers' compensation benefits can be viewed as falling into two basic categories. 1. Payment for medical care, and 2. Payment for disability. It is the workers' compensation insurance carriers that must pay for treatment of work-related injuries and illness. That includes the services of medical doctors, chiropractors, hospitals, and other licensed providers. Insurance carriers pay medical providers according to fee schedules that set the amount which physicians, hospitals, and pharmacists may charge for their services. There are no co-pays that employees must pay, and medical providers are not allowed to bill the employee for the difference between the fee schedule and the amount that they normally charge for that service. If the employee must travel a significant distance to receive treatment, the insurance carrier will pay reasonable travel expenses as well. Although many work-related injuries only involve medical care expenses, some more serious injuries involve time off work for recovery. On other occasions, the injury may create a permanent disability. The benefits paid in those situations are in addition to the medical care benefits. Payments for disability in Kentucky include temporary total disability, permanent partial disability, permanent total disability, and death benefits. Temporary total disability is called TTD for short. The purpose of TTD benefits is to provide an income stream for employees who are temporarily unable to work while they recover from a work-related injury. TTD benefits are 2/3 of an employee's average weekly wage, but no more than the state's average weekly wage. TTD benefits are only paid if an employee is off work as a result of a work-related injury for more than 7 days. In those cases, the injured employee is paid beginning on the 8th day. However, if that employee remains off work for more than 14 days, TTD benefits are paid retroactively for the first 7 days. If the injured employee is receiving unemployment benefits while receiving TTD benefits, the employer is entitled to a credit for the amount of the unemployment benefits paid to the employee. Payment of TTD benefits end when the employee either recovers enough that he is able to return to work or when a physician finds that he has reached maximum medical improvement. However, TTD benefits may be restarted if, upon the employee returning to work, the treating physician determines that the employee is physically unable to do the work or must stop for surgery or some other medical treatment related to the work injury. Remember that TTD benefits are 2/3 of the injured employee's average weekly wage, which begs the question, how is the average weekly wage determined? In most instances, An employee's average weekly wage is calculated by using the highest wages paid during a 13-week period in the year before the injury occurred. Overtime hours are included, but only at regular hourly wage rates. These earnings for the highest quarter are then divided by 13, and the result is the employee's average weekly wage. It is notable that income benefits paid within the Kentucky workers' compensation system are not taxable to the employee. Just as temporary total disability is called TTD, permanent partial disability is called PPD. PPD benefits are paid to an employee when he has a permanent disability caused by a work-related injury but is still able to work. In workers' compensation, a disability is expressed as a percentage. For example, a 25% disability infers that the employee is 25% functionally impaired by a work-related injury that he suffered. This is determined by a physician. PPD benefits are not paid forever. In fact, they are normally paid for no more than 425 weeks, but in cases of more serious injuries, may be payable up to 520 weeks. Permanent total disability, PTD, benefits are paid to an employee who is so severely injured that he cannot obtain and maintain a job. Permanent total disability benefits may be reduced if it's shown that the injured worker has recovered sufficiently to return to work. If a work-related injury results in an employee's death, a lump sum payment is paid to the employee's estate. As of 2014, this lump sum amount is $75,542. However, it adjusts annually based upon cost of living. Additionally, the surviving spouse and certain dependents are also entitled to income benefits based on the loss of income from the deceased. If you recall from the training module entitled Understanding Kentucky Workers' Compensation, one of the underlying characteristics of workers' compensation is that it's a no-fault system. However, even though benefits are granted even if an employee's mistake or carelessness caused the accident, disability payments may be reduced by 15% in cases where the worker's intentional violation of a safety law or regulation caused the injury. Likewise, Kentucky's workers' compensation law allows for a safety penalty to be imposed against an employer. That safety penalty increases the benefits of an injured employee by 30% if the injury was caused by an intentional violation of a safety law or regulation by the employer. We already discussed the fact that TTD benefits cease when the employee returns to work or is determined to have reached maximum medical improvement. We also discussed that permanent partial disability payments stop after 425 weeks or after 520 weeks for more serious injuries. But there are some other situations that cause benefits to be terminated. One of those is refusal of treatment. If an injured employee unreasonably refuses medical treatment, income benefits may be terminated, even if the employee remains disabled. Another thing that can result in the termination of benefits is if the injured employee fails to appear for scheduled independent medical examinations or refuses to be questioned at depositions or hearings. Also, if an injured worker is within 2 years of reaching normal Social Security retirement age or has already done so, TTD or PPD benefits will cease 2 years following the injury. Most of the time, workers' compensation claims are handled in a fairly routine manner. Employees receive the benefits prescribed by the workers' compensation statutes and feel that they have been treated fairly. However, there are occasionally differences of opinion that surface in the workers' compensation claims process. Many of those disputes are resolved when the parties agree to a compromise settlement. However, if such a settlement cannot be reached, it's necessary for the parties to litigate the claim. When this happens, the first step is a benefit review conference, which is an informal proceeding held before an administrative law judge. The goal in the Benefit Review Conference is to settle the disputed issues. If the claim is not settled there, the administrative law judge schedules a formal hearing. The hearing is the opportunity for the employee and the employer to testify in the presence of an administrative law judge. After hearing the evidence from both sides, the administrative law judge will issue a decision awarding or denying income or medical benefits. Any party who disagrees with the decision of the administrative law judge may file an appeal to the Workers' Compensation Board. An appeal is a review of the administrative law judge's decision and determines whether the administrative law judge erred in applying the law to the facts of the case. An appeal is not an opportunity to submit new or additional evidence. Any party who disagrees with the decision of the Workers' Compensation Board may appeal to the Kentucky Court of Appeals, and then to the Supreme Court of Kentucky. In this module, we discussed that workers' compensation benefits include both medical benefits and disability benefits. We discussed that insurance companies pay medical providers according to a fee schedule, and that injured workers cannot be balance billed by the medical provider. We discussed the various forms of disability benefits paid under Kentucky's workers' compensation system and some of the limitations of those benefits. We also discussed how an employee's average weekly wage is determined for workers' compensation purposes. Lastly, we learned about the dispute resolution process within Kentucky's workers' compensation system. If you would like to gain additional insight into Kentucky's workers' compensation benefits, I urge you to download Kentucky's Workers' Compensation Guidebook from truckingworkerscomp.com, a website maintained by Midwestern Insurance Alliance, the only workers' compensation provider endorsed by the Kentucky Motor Transport Association.